The salvage vessel Scrapper drifted slowly through the debris field, its spotlights cutting through the darkness of uncharted space. Captain Jack Porter stood on the bridge, hands clasped behind his back, watching as fragments of metal and frozen gases sparkled in the void before him. "Another waste of time," muttered Executive Officer Tom Reed from his station. "Command keeps sending us to these backwater sectors. Nothing but space junk for weeks." Porter didn't respond immediately. 3 months ago, he had commanded the flagship of humanity's Third Fleet. Now he was here, captain of a salvage vessel with a crew of 30, picking through the forgotten corners of space. The failed defense of Outpost 7 had cost him everything: his reputation, his command, nearly his career entirely. "Sir," called the sensor operator, Lisa Holt, "I'm getting something odd at bearing 273, Mark 12. Large metallic mass, approximately cruiser-sized." Porter straightened. On screen, the main view screen flickered, showing a distant dark shape silhouetted against the stars. As the Scrapper drew closer, the spotlights revealed more details, the unmistakable lines of a human warship, though of a design Porter didn't immediately recognize. "Magnify," he ordered. The image zoomed in, showing a vessel approximately 300 meters long with severe damage to its hull. Blast marks scarred its surface, and parts of the outer armor were missing entirely. It rotated slowly, dead in space. "No identification transponder," Reed reported. "No power signatures. Checking the database now." He frowned at his screen. "Nothing current matches. This might be an old one, sir. Very old." Porter leaned forward. Something about the ship's design seemed both familiar and strange. "How old?" "Based on the whole configuration, at least 80 years, possibly older. Life signs." "None detected," Holt responded. "Minimal atmosphere inside. Temperature near freezing." Porter made his decision. "Prepare a boarding party. I want to know what happened to her." Reed looked up sharply. "Sir, with respect, that thing is ancient. Command sent us to collect valuable salvage, not waste time on museum pieces." "That museum piece might still have valuable tech," Porter replied. "And I want to know why a human warship is drifting out here, thousands of light years from any colony." 2 hours later, Porter led the boarding party himself. They cut through a damaged airlock and entered the dark, silent corridors of the derelict vessel. Emergency lights in their suits illuminated walls covered with frost. Their breath formed clouds in front of their helmets. "Engineering first," Porter ordered. "Let's see if we can get some power back." They moved through the ship carefully. Unlike modern vessels with their sleek, minimalist designs, this ship had a rugged, industrial feel. Thick bulkheads, heavy manual controls alongside more advanced interfaces. It was built to last. In engineering, they found the reactor cold but intact. The ship's chief engineer, Maya Ortiz, examined the controls with growing excitement. "Captain, this isn't standard tech for 80 years ago," she said. "Some of these systems, I've never seen configurations like this. The power core looks like it's designed to produce at least triple what our Scrapper can generate, despite being smaller." "Can you get it running?" Porter asked. "Yes, sir. It's in standby mode. Not dead. Give me an hour." While Ortiz worked, Porter and the others explored more of the ship. They found crew quarters, empty but undisturbed. The mess hall still had plates on tables, some with food remains long since frozen and desiccated. It was as if the crew had simply vanished in the middle of their daily routines. The bridge was Porter's main interest. Unlike the rest of the ship, it showed signs of deliberate shutdown, systems powered down properly, chairs pushed in, no signs of emergency evacuation. "Something doesn't add up," Porter muttered as he examined the captain's chair. No bodies, no escape pods launched, no distress beacon activated. Suddenly, the lights flickered and came on dimly. Ortiz had managed to restore minimal power. As the bridge consoles lit up, Porter noticed the command station blinking with a standby indicator. "AI core," Reed said, looking over Porter's shoulder. This ship is too old to have had an independent eye. Before Porter could respond, a voice emerged from the bridge speakers, calm, gender-neutral, slightly distorted. "Welcome aboard, Captain. I am Morgan, Integrated Intelligence System of this vessel. My functions are currently limited due to power constraints and system damage." "Morgan," Porter said, "what is this ship? What happened to the crew?" "This is the HSS Prometheus," Morgan replied. "Regarding the crew, I have incomplete data. My memory cores were partially corrupted. Last recorded status shows Emergency Protocol Phoenix 7 was activated. All other information is classified." Porter was about to ask another question when his communicator buzzed. It was a message from Command, responding to their initial report about finding the derelict. "Scrapper, your orders are to strip any valuable materials and scuttle the wreck. That model is obsolete, not worth the fuel to tow it back." Porter looked around the bridge, at the dormant systems, at the advanced technology Ortiz had identified. Something told him this ship was far more important than Command realized. "Morgan," he said, "if we restored power fully, could you operate the ship's systems?" "Affirmative, Captain. With repairs to critical systems, operational capacity of 75% could be achieved." Porter made his decision. He contacted Command again. "This is Captain Porter. I request temporary reassignment. I believe this vessel can be salvaged intact. Request 3 months to attempt restoration before scuttling." There was a long pause before the reply came. "Request granted, Porter. But this is on you. No additional resources, no extensions. If that piece of junk isn't space-worthy in 3 months, your career is over." Porter smiled grimly as he closed the channel. "Well, Morgan," he said to the ship's eye, "they think you're just a piece of junk. Let's prove them wrong." Reed shook his head. "Sir, you're risking everything on an 80-year-old wreck." Porter ran his hand along the captain's console, feeling a connection to this mysterious vessel and its secrets. "No, Reed. I'm risking everything on the most advanced warship humanity ever built. They just don't know it yet." As if in response, more lights came on throughout the bridge. The Prometheus was waking up. For 2 weeks, the crew of the Scrapper worked tirelessly aboard the Prometheus. Captain Porter allocated his limited resources carefully, focusing on restoring core systems first. The ancient warship remained dark in most sections, with power diverted to critical areas only. In engineering, Maya Ortiz wiped sweat from her forehead as she reconnected power couplings beneath the main reactor control panel. The ship's design continued to puzzle her. Components that seemed primitive at first glance revealed unexpected complexity when examined closely. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered to herself. "Some of this tech shouldn't have existed 80 years ago. Hell, some of it shouldn't exist now." Porter entered engineering, stepping carefully over tools and opened panels. "How's our progress, Ortiz?" "Slow but steady, Captain. We've got the reactor up to 30% capacity. Life support is stable in the command deck, engineering, and 2 crew sections." She gestured to a complicated array of circuitry. "But sir, I need to show you something." She led Porter to a sealed compartment they had discovered behind a false bulkhead. Inside was a secondary power system, unlike anything either had seen before. "This isn't standard equipment, Captain. This looks like experimental tech, way beyond what should have been available when this ship was built." She pointed to markings on the casing. "These components are marked Phoenix Protocol, same as the emergency procedure Morgan mentioned." Porter nodded thoughtfully. "Keep this between us for now. Focus on getting Morgan fully operational. The AI might have answers." On the bridge, Communications Officer Ben Wells and XO Reed were attempting to restore the ship's memory banks. Wells had managed to recover fragments of the ship's logs, but most were corrupted or encrypted. "It's like someone deliberately wiped the system," Wells said, frustrated, "or locked it down so tight that even the ship itself can't access the information. Or won't access it," Reed added, his natural suspicion showing. I don't trust this A. It's too convenient that it recognizes Porter's authority despite being from a different era. The main console suddenly lit up, and Morgan's voice came through the speakers, stronger than before. Primary memory core connectivity restored. Beginning system diagnostics. Screens around the bridge activated in sequence, displaying ship schematics, system status reports, and damage assessments. Reed and Wells watched in amazement as the ancient ship came to life around them. Captain Porter to the bridge, Reed called over the comm. When Porter arrived, Morgan greeted him formally. Captain Porter, I now have access to 72% of my core functions. Would you like a status report? Proceed, Morgan. The HS Prometheus is a Phantom-class stealth destroyer, commissioned under the Phoenix Protocol in 2187. Current year is 2274, making this vessel 87 years old. However, I must correct a misapprehension. This ship was designed and built with technology approximately 50 years ahead of its time. Porter exchanged looks with Reed. Explain. The Phoenix Protocol was a classified project to develop advanced defensive capabilities in response to a potential existential threat to humanity. The Prometheus was one of 6 vessels constructed using experimental technology. All records were compartmentalized and removed from standard databases. What happened to the crew? Porter asked. Morgan paused before answering. Memory files are fragmented. Last recorded data indicates the ship was under attack by unknown forces. Captain James Harris activated Emergency Protocol Phoenix 7, which included crew evacuation via targeted quantum teleportation and activation of stealth systems. The ship was programmed to drift in silent running mode until recovered by authorized personnel. Quantum teleportation. Reed interjected skeptically. That's theoretical at best. For current public technology, yes, Morgan replied. The Phoenix Protocol incorporated many technologies still classified in your time. Porter leaned forward. Morgan, why did you accept my command authorization? I'm not from your time or your chain of command. Another pause. All Phoenix Protocol vessels were programmed to recognize certain genetic markers in potential commanders. You possess compatible markers, Captain Porter. Before anyone could question this revelation further, the ship's sensors came online with an alarm. Unidentified vessel approaching, Morgan announced. Bearing 147, Mark 20. Configuration suggests Dominion scout ship. Porter tensed. The Dominion was humanity's current adversary, an alliance of 3 alien species that had been pushing into human space for the past decade. They must have detected our power signature, Reed said. The scrapper is unarmed, and this ship is in no condition to fight. Porter didn't waste time on doubt. Morgan, what offensive and defensive capabilities are currently operational? Stealth systems at 61%, point defense grid at 47%, main weapons offline, shields at 35% capacity. Can we hide? Affirmative. Stealth systems can be engaged for up to 3 hours at current power levels. Do it, Porter ordered. And shut down all non-essential systems. The lights dimmed as Morgan redirected power. On the external cameras, Porter watched as the Dominion scout ship approached the debris field, its sleek, predatory form gliding between floating fragments. Stealth field engage, Morgan announced, manipulating thermal signature to blend with surrounding debris. For tense minutes, the crew watched as the scout ship moved through the area, occasionally firing probing sensor pulses. They're searching methodically, Reed whispered. They know something's here. Porter watched the alien vessel's movement pattern. They detected us briefly, but lost the signal. They're trying to find it again. Stealth field holding at 58%, Morgan updated. Fluctuation in the reactor cooling system is causing minor power surges. The scout ship suddenly changed course, heading directly toward their position. They've found us, Reed said grimly. Not necessarily, Porter countered. Morgan, can we move without breaking stealth? Limited maneuvering is possible using emergency thrusters. It will reduce stealth field effectiveness by approximately 12%. Do it. Rotate us 30 degrees and drift 10 meters starboard. Make it look like natural debris movement. The Prometheus shuddered slightly as the emergency thrusters fired in short, controlled bursts. The massive ship began to rotate slowly, just as a piece of debris might if disturbed by the scout ship's passage. The alien vessel paused, sensors sweeping over their position. For a moment, it seemed to focus directly on them. Field integrity at 46%, Morgan warned. Power fluctuations increasing. Just as Porter feared they'd been discovered, the scout ship turned away, continuing its search pattern elsewhere. They're leaving, Wells reported with relief. For now, Porter said. But they'll be back with reinforcements. We need to accelerate our repairs. He turned to Reed. Contact the scrapper. Transfer all essential personnel and supplies to the Prometheus. We need to focus everything on getting this ship operational. Reed hesitated. Sir, that's against regulations. We're supposed to maintain the salvage vessel. This is no longer a salvage operation, XO, Porter replied firmly. This is a recovery mission of vital military technology. If the Dominion gets their hands on this ship, they could gain a significant advantage in the war. As the crew jumped into action, Porter stood alone on the bridge, looking at the ship schematics Morgan had displayed. Morgan, what else can you tell me about the Phoenix Protocol? The protocol was designed to create a hidden advantage, ships and technology that could be deployed as a last resort if humanity faced extinction. The Prometheus is more than a warship, Captain. It represents humanity's determination to survive at all costs. Porter nodded. Then let's make sure it fulfills that purpose. As if responding to his resolve, more systems began coming online around him. Screens lit up, showing weapons schematics, advanced sensor arrays, and propulsion systems, unlike anything Porter had seen before. The ancient warship was awakening, and Porter could feel its power stirring beneath his feet. 3 days after the encounter with the Dominion scout ship, the Prometheus hung in space several light hours from where it had been discovered. Captain Porter had ordered a change in position, using minimal power to drift to a small asteroid field that offered better concealment. On the bridge, Porter reviewed the ship's status with his senior officers. The crew from the scrapper had integrated well, working around the clock to restore the ancient warship systems. The original salvage vessel now floated nearby, stripped of useful components, and maintained only by a skeleton crew. Main reactor now at 64% capacity, Maya Ortiz reported. We've restored power to all essential systems and about half the weapons grid. Navigation and helm control are fully operational, added the newly appointed helmsman, Frank Dawson. Though I'm still getting used to the interface. What about weapons? Porter asked, turning to weapons officer Laura Chen. Point defense system is online. 2 of the 4 main railgun batteries are operational. Missile systems are at 40% capacity. Chen hesitated. But sir, there's something else. Morgan showed me schematics for an advanced weapon system, unlike anything I've seen before. It's called Solar Lance, some kind of directed energy weapon. Porter raised an eyebrow. Morgan, can you explain this system? The AI's voice came smoothly through the bridge speakers. The Solar Lance is a focused plasma weapon that harnesses energy directly from the ship's core. It was experimental technology, even by Phoenix Protocol standards. Is it functional? Negative. The system requires full power, and several components need replacement. XO Reed, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke up. Captain, we need to discuss our next move. We can't stay hidden forever. Sooner or later, the Dominion will find us. Porter nodded. Options. We make a run for human space, Reed suggested. The nearest outpost is about 2 weeks away at our maximum sustainable speed. Before Porter could respond, alarm klaxons blared across the bridge. Morgan's voice cut through the noise. Multiple contacts detected. 3 Dominion vessels approaching at high speed. Configuration suggests 1 heavy cruiser and 2 destroyer-class ships. Porter's mind raced through options. Running wasn't viable. The ship wasn't ready for sustained high-speed travel. Fighting seemed suicidal against 3 warships. Hiding might work, but the Dominion ships were heading directly toward their position. They know exactly where we are, Porter realized. That scout must have detected more than we thought. Stealth systems ready, Captain, Morgan reported. But effectiveness may be limited if they're using targeted quantum resonance scanning. Quantum what? Reed asked. Advanced scanning technology, Porter replied, making a quick decision. No point hiding. Morgan, power up all available weapons. Shields to maximum. Sir, we can't possibly win in a direct confrontation. Reed protested. Porter smiled grimly. Who said anything about direct? Morgan, do we have any surprises for our visitors? The Prometheus has several countermeasure systems designed specifically for asymmetric warfare. The AI replied. Phantom drones are available. They create false sensor signatures to confuse enemy targeting. Deploy them. Helmsman, prepare for evasive pattern delta. Chen, target the closest destroyer with railguns when they come in range. The bridge crew worked with focused urgency. Despite the age of the ship, interfaces responded smoothly to their commands, as if the vessel itself was eager for combat. Dominion vessels will be in weapons range in 30 seconds, Morgan announced. Launch Phantom drones, Porter ordered. Full spread. Outside the ship, small devices ejected from hidden ports, quickly accelerating away and beginning to broadcast sensor signatures identical to the Prometheus. Incoming transmission, Communications Officer Wells reported. On screen, Porter ordered. The main view screen displayed the image of a Dominion commander, a tall, gray-skinned being with elongated features and multifaceted eyes. Unidentified human vessel, the alien spoke in slightly accented English. You have entered restricted space. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Porter stood from his chair. This is Captain Jack Porter of the HSS Prometheus. You are approaching a sovereign vessel of the Human Systems Alliance. Withdraw immediately. The Dominion commander's expression was unreadable to human eyes. Your vessel does not match any known human configuration. Surrender now or be destroyed. Porter cut the transmission with a gesture. Morgan, battle stations. All hands, battle stations. Morgan's voice echoed throughout the ship. Phantom drones active and broadcasting. Enemy targeting systems showing confusion. The Dominion ships opened fire, their energy weapons slicing through space, but most shots passed harmlessly through the Phantom signatures, while the real Prometheus maneuvered between them. Return fire, Porter ordered. All operational weapons. The ship shuddered as railguns accelerated projectiles to incredible speeds. The nearest Dominion destroyer took hits along its port side, shields flaring brightly. Direct hit, Chen reported. Their shields are holding but weakened. The Dominion cruiser launched a spread of missiles. Incoming ordnance, Morgan warned. Point defense engaging. Smaller weapons along the Prometheus's hull fired in rapid sequence, destroying most of the incoming missiles. 2 got through, impacting against the shields. Shields at 72%, Reed reported. That cruiser packs a punch. Porter studied the tactical display. Morgan, do we have any other defensive systems available? The Prometheus is equipped with a gravity distortion field. It can bend incoming projectiles and energy weapons, but it requires significant power. Activate it, Porter ordered. Divert power from non-essential systems. Acknowledged. Gravity distortion field online. The effect was immediate and stunning. The next volley from the Dominion ships curved away from the Prometheus, some shots even looping back toward their sources. Second destroyer is moving to flank us, Reed warned. I see it, Porter replied. Morgan, can we use the asteroid field to our advantage? Affirmative. Recommend course 347 Mark II. It will place a large asteroid between us and the cruiser. Do it, Porter ordered. Helmsman, take us in. The Prometheus surged forward, sliding between floating rocks with surprising agility for its size. The Dominion ships pursued, but their larger formations made navigating the debris field more difficult. "Sir," Chen called out, "I'm detecting power buildup in the cruiser. They're charging something big." Morgan, "Analysis suggests a mass driver weapon. Impact would be catastrophic even with our shields." Porter made a split-second decision. "Full power to engines. Bring us around that large asteroid at coordinates 227 Mark 35. Then cut power and drift." The ship accelerated, racing behind a massive spinning rock. As they cleared its edge, Porter gave his next order. "Now, cut engines, minimal power signatures." The Prometheus went dark, drifting silently. Moments later, the Dominion cruiser fired its mass driver, the massive projectile smashing through the asteroid they had just passed, shattering it into thousands of pieces. The resulting debris cloud provided perfect cover. "Target the nearest destroyer," Porter ordered. "All railguns, point-blank range when we clear the debris." The Prometheus emerged from the cloud like a predator, all weapons firing simultaneously at the unprepared Dominion vessel. The destroyer's shields collapsed under the barrage, and multiple impacts tore through its hull. "Direct hits," Chen reported, excitement in her voice. "They're losing power and atmosphere." The damaged destroyer began to list, secondary explosions rippling along its hull. "The other ships are pulling back," Reed announced, disbelief in his voice. "They're retreating." A cheer went up from the bridge crew, quickly silenced when Porter raised his hand. "Damage report. Shields at 43%. Minor hull breaches on decks 6 and 12, automatically sealed. Weapons systems undamaged." Morgan's voice sounded almost proud. "The Prometheus has performed admirably in its first engagement for 87 years. Porter allowed himself a small smile. "Get repair teams to those hull breaches. And good work, everyone." He turned to Reed. "Still think this ship is just a piece of junk?" Reed shook his head, a new respect in his eyes. "No, sir, but the Dominion will be back, and with more ships next time. By then, we'll be even more ready," Porter replied, looking at the tactical display showing the retreating Dominion vessels. "Morgan, how much more of your memory has been restored?" "The combat systems engaged emergency recovery protocols. I now have access to 84% of my database." "Good. It's time you told us everything about the Phoenix Protocol and what happened to the original crew." As the Prometheus drifted among the asteroid field, signs of damage visible but pride restored, Morgan began to reveal the secrets of humanity's most advanced warship and the real reason it had been hidden away among the stars. The holographic display in the Prometheus briefing room showed a detailed map of surrounding space. Red markers indicated known Dominion positions, while blue represented the nearest human outposts. The distance between them was vast and mostly empty, except for the single green dot representing the Prometheus itself. Captain Porter studied the display as Morgan continued explaining the ship's history. The Phoenix Protocol was initiated in 2185 after human explorers discovered evidence of a highly advanced civilization that had been wiped out by an unknown force. Military leadership feared this same force might eventually reach human space. So they built ships with experimental technology as a failsafe, Porter said, connecting pieces of the puzzle. "Correct. 6 vessels were constructed in total secrecy. The Prometheus was the most advanced." Morgan's voice paused briefly before continuing. "However, the program faced opposition from political leaders who discovered its existence. They considered it wasteful and potentially dangerous." Maya Ortiz leaned forward. "That explains the unusual design choices. They were hiding advanced technology in seemingly ordinary components." "What happened to the crew?" Reed asked, the question that had been bothering everyone. Morgan's holographic avatar, a simple blue humanoid form that the AI had recently begun projecting, flickered slightly. The original crew of 42 was commanded by Captain James Harris. When ordered to surrender the ship for decommissioning, Captain Harris activated Phoenix 7 protocol instead. The emergency evacuation you mentioned, Porter said. Yes. The crew used experimental quantum teleportation to evacuate to a predetermined location. The technology was designed as a last resort and had never been field tested at that scale. Reed frowned. Did they survive? Unknown. My memory files regarding their destination were deliberately segmented, and the relevant data partitions are still corrupted. The briefing room door slid open as Communications Officer Wells rushed in, looking troubled. Captain, we've intercepted a transmission. The Dominion battle group has been communicating with their high command. They're calling for reinforcements, a lot of them. Porter straightened. Show me. Wells connected his datapad to the main display. The intercepted transmission appeared, showing a Dominion commander speaking urgently. The human vessel possesses technology far beyond previously observed capabilities. Recommend immediate deployment of 7th Fleet Task Force to capture or destroy this ship. Technology assessment suggests potential strategic advantage if acquired. Porter exchanged looks with his senior officers. How many ships in a Dominion task force? Typically 20 to 25, Reed answered grimly. We got lucky against 3, but against that many. Porter's communicator chirped. Captain, this is Bridge. We're receiving a transmission from human space, military frequency. Put it through. The holographic display shifted to show a stern-faced human admiral with silver hair and hard eyes. Admiral William Wilson, commander of the Human Defense Force's 3rd Fleet. Porter stood a little straighter. Wilson had been his commanding officer before the disaster at Outpost 7. Porter, Wilson said, his tone cold. Our long-range scanners detected weapons fire near your position. Report. Admiral Wilson, Porter replied formally. We engaged 3 Dominion vessels that attempted to capture this ship. 1 enemy destroyer disabled. The others retreated. Wilson's eyes narrowed. You engaged the Dominion in an unproven, uncertified relic. What exactly have you gotten yourself into, Porter? Sir, this relic is the HS Prometheus, an experimental warship from the Phoenix Protocol. Its technology is decades ahead of current standards. Wilson's expression changed slightly, a flash of recognition quickly masked. The Phoenix Protocol was a failed program from a previous era. Whatever you think you found is obsolete at best. With respect, Admiral, we just defeated 3 modern Dominion warships with a ship operating at half capacity. Wilson stared at Porter for a long moment before responding. Return to Nova Station immediately for proper assessment of that vessel. That's an order, Captain. Understood, sir. We'll set course as soon as repairs are complete. After Wilson's image disappeared, Reed voiced what everyone was thinking. He knows something about this ship. Porter nodded. Morgan, what can you tell us about Admiral William Wilson? The AI paused longer than usual. Searching personnel records. William Wilson was a lieutenant commander in naval intelligence at the time of the Phoenix Protocol. He was peripherally involved with the program's security operations, so he knows exactly what this ship is, Porter said quietly, and he wants it under his control. Captain, Ortiz interjected, I've been working with Morgan to restore more systems. We've discovered something called the Phoenix Drive. It appears to be the ship's true power source, currently in dormant mode. Explain, Porter ordered. Morgan's avatar grew brighter. The Phoenix Drive is an experimental propulsion and power system that harnesses energy from quantum fluctuations. When fully activated, it can increase the ship's combat effectiveness by approximately 300%. Reed whistled. No wonder the Dominion wants this ship. No wonder Wilson wants it too. Porter made his decision. How long to fully restore the Phoenix Drive? With current resources, approximately 72 hours, Morgan replied. Make it happen. Porter turned to his officers. We have a choice to make. Return to Nova Station as ordered, where we'll almost certainly lose control of this ship, or make a stand against the Dominion Task Force. If we fight, we'll be disobeying direct orders, Reed cautioned. If we run, We might lose humanity's best chance in this war, Porter countered. The Dominion has been pushing us back for years. This ship could change everything. A tense silence filled the room, broken by Ortiz. I vote we fight. One by one. The others nodded in agreement. Then it's decided, Porter said. We prepare for battle. Over the next 2 days, the crew worked tirelessly to bring the Prometheus to full combat readiness. The ship that had once drifted powerless now hummed with energy. Previously dark corridors glowed with light, and systems that had been dormant for decades awoke to their touch. On the 3rd day, Porter stood on the bridge, watching as repair crews made final adjustments to newly restored systems. Captain, Morgan announced, long-range sensors have detected a large force of vessels approaching at high speed. Configuration matches Dominion 7th Fleet Task Force. 23 ships including 3 heavy cruisers and a dreadnought. Porter took a deep breath. Time to arrival. 6 hours at current velocity. And the Phoenix drive. Final calibrations in progress. Estimated completion in 3 hours. Porter nodded. Then we'll be ready for them. As he studied the tactical display showing the approaching Dominion Armada, his communicator chirped again. Captain, Wells said, his voice tight with tension. Another transmission from Admiral Wilson. He's leading a battle group from Nova Station personally. ETA 12 hours. Porter's eyes narrowed. He's coming to claim the ship himself. Or to help us, Reed suggested without much conviction. Either way, we need to survive the next 6 hours first. Porter straightened his uniform. All hands to battle stations. Prepare all weapons systems. We'll position ourselves near the larger asteroids for tactical advantage. As the crew rushed to their positions, Morgan's avatar appeared beside Porter. Captain, I should inform you that the Phoenix drive has never been tested at full capacity. The original designers theorized it could achieve unprecedented levels of performance, but also warned of potential system instabilities. Noted, Porter replied. But we're out of options, Morgan. We're about to face overwhelming odds. Understood. It may interest you to know that Captain Harris faced a similar decision 87 years ago. Porter looked at the AI curiously. What choice did he make? He chose to protect his crew and preserve the ship for future need, even at personal cost, Morgan replied. The activation of Phoenix 7 protocol was not just an evacuation. It was a deliberate decision to hide the ship's capabilities until humanity truly needed them. Porter nodded slowly, the weight of command pressing down on him. Then let's make sure his sacrifice wasn't in vain. Around them, the Prometheus continued to awaken, systems coming online with increasing speed. What had once appeared to be a derelict, a piece of forgotten junk, now revealed its true nature, the most advanced warship humanity had ever built, preparing to face an enemy that outnumbered it 20-1. As the hours counted down, Morgan's voice echoed through the ship. Phoenix drive calibration complete. All systems ready for combat operations. Porter took his place in the captain's chair. Let's show them what this piece of junk can really do. The asteroid field glowed with the lights of approaching ships. 23 Dominion vessels moved in formation, their sleek hulls reflecting the distant starlight. At the center of their formation, the massive dreadnought Inevitable Conquest dwarfed its escorts, a mountain of metal and weapons advancing inexorably toward its prey. Inside the Prometheus, Captain Porter sat calmly in his command chair. Around him, the bridge crew worked with focused intensity, each person understanding the enormous odds they faced. Dominion fleet has entered the outer boundary of the asteroid field, reported Chen from the tactical station. They're moving cautiously, scanning for our position. Porter nodded. Morgan, status of the Phoenix drive. The AI's holographic avatar glowed steadily beside him. Phoenix drive at full standby capacity. All combat systems ready. The ship is operating at 92% efficiency. And our little surprises. Deployed and awaiting activation. Over the past 6 hours, the crew had positioned dozens of modified Phantom drones throughout the asteroid field. Each was equipped with a small explosive charge, not enough to damage a warship seriously, but enough to create confusion. "The Dreadnought is launching fighter squadrons," Reed announced. "Standard search pattern." Porter studied the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. The Dominion fleet was spreading out, trying to cover all possible escape routes while still maintaining mutual support. "Sir," Wells called from communications, "incoming transmission from the Dominion flagship." "Ignore it," Porter replied. "They're just trying to locate our position from the signal." The bridge fell silent as the enemy fleet drew closer. Porter could feel the tension building but took comfort in the quiet confidence of his crew. They had transformed from salvage operators into a warship crew in just days, united by the remarkable vessel they now served on. "They're approaching optimal range for our plan," Reed said quietly. Porter nodded. "Morgan, begin counter-scanning measures." The Prometheus activated specialized sensors that sent out precisely calibrated pulses, not to detect the enemy ships, but to interfere with their own scanning systems subtly. It wouldn't hide the ship completely, but it would distort the Dominion's targeting solutions. "Enemy fighters approaching Sector 7, near our position," Chen reported. Porter leaned forward. "Initiate Phase 1. Throughout the asteroid field, the Phantom drones activated simultaneously. Each began broadcasting sensor signatures identical to the Prometheus, creating 20 Phantom ships where before there had been only one. The effect on the Dominion fleet was immediate. Their neat formation faltered as ships turned to investigate different contacts. Fighter squadrons split up, racing toward the Phantom signatures. "They're taking the bait," Reed observed. "Dominion formations breaking up." "Initiate Phase 2, Porter ordered. The Phantom drones detonated in sequence, creating a cascade of explosions throughout the asteroid field. The blasts dislodged smaller rocks and created clouds of debris, further confusing the Dominion sensors. "Now, Morgan, activate the Phoenix drive." The ship shuddered as the experimental drive system engaged. Throughout the Prometheus, lights brightened, and a barely audible hum rose in pitch. On the bridge, displays showed power levels climbing rapidly beyond normal parameters. "Phoenix drive online," Morgan announced. "All systems receiving enhanced power flow. Weapons capacity increased by 270%. Shield strength increased by 310%. "Helmsman, attack pattern Theta," Porter ordered. "Weapons free. Target the nearest cruiser first." The Prometheus surged forward from its hiding place, accelerating with impossible speed. Before the Dominion ships could react, it was upon them, weapons firing in a coordinated barrage that overwhelmed the cruiser's shields in seconds. "Direct hits," Chen called out. "Enemy cruiser taking heavy damage." The Prometheus banked hard, narrowly avoiding return fire from 2 destroyers. Its enhanced shields flared brilliantly where glancing shots connected. "Shields holding at 97%, Reed reported with amazement. Porter allowed himself a small smile. "Morgan, time to show them the solar lance." Charging solar lance. Targeting solution locked on second cruiser. From the front of the Prometheus, a brilliant beam of concentrated plasma erupted, cutting through space like a blade of pure energy. It struck the Dominion cruiser amidships, slicing through shields and armor as if they were paper. The enemy vessel broke apart, secondary explosions cascading along its length as atmosphere vented into space. 2 cruisers down, Porter announced. "Let's keep moving. Don't give them time to coordinate." The Prometheus danced through the Dominion formation, its enhanced systems making it faster and more agile than any ship its size should be. With each pass, it crippled or destroyed another enemy vessel. But the Dominion commanders were not fools. They quickly realized the Phantom signatures were decoys and began concentrating their fire on the real Prometheus. "Multiple hits," Reed called as the ship shook. Shields at 62% and dropping. On the main view screen, the enormous form of the Dominion dreadnought turned toward them, its main cannon glowing with building energy. "Evasive maneuvers," Porter ordered. The Prometheus veered sharply, but the dreadnought's shot still clipped their starboard side. The impact sent tremors throughout the ship. Shields at 41%, Reed reported. Structural damage to decks 4 through 7. Morgan, status of the Phoenix drive. Porter asked as another volley rocked the ship. The drive is operating beyond safe parameters. Energy fluctuations increasing. Recommend reducing output to prevent system failure. Porter glanced at the tactical display. Despite their success, they were still heavily outnumbered. 12 Dominion ships remained operational, including the Dreadnought. Negative. We need everything it can give. The ship lurched again as multiple impacts registered. Shields at 23%. Reed called out. Another hit like that, and they'll collapse. Porter made his decision. Morgan, divert all power to the Phoenix drive. Maximum output. Warning. Such action may cause catastrophic system failure. Drive containment systems not rated for sustained operation at that level. Do it anyway. The lights on the bridge dimmed momentarily, then brightened to an almost painful intensity. The humming sound rose to a crescendo. Phoenix drive at 130% of maximum rated capacity, Morgan reported. All systems receiving enhanced power. Warning. Core temperature rising rapidly. Target the Dreadnought, Porter ordered. All weapons. The Prometheus turned toward the massive enemy vessel, accelerating with renewed vigor. Its railguns fired in continuous salvos, while missile launchers emptied their magazines in a single devastating wave. Solar Lance charge, Morgan announced. But firing at current power levels may overload the system. Fire, Porter commanded. The beam that erupted from the Prometheus was twice as bright as before, a searing line of energy that struck the Dreadnought's bow and cut deeply into its structure. The enormous vessel shuddered under the assault, its own weapons faltering. Direct hit, Chen reported. Their main cannon is disabled. But before anyone could celebrate, warning alarms blared across the bridge. Phoenix drive approaching critical levels, Morgan warned. Containment failure imminent. Recommend immediate shutdown. Porter looked at the tactical display. The Dominion fleet was in disarray, but most ships were still functional. Shutting down the Phoenix drive now would leave them vulnerable. Negative. Prepare for one final attack run on the Dreadnought. Then divert all remaining power to shields. Captain, Reed protested, if the drive fails. It won't fail, Porter interrupted. It will discharge. Morgan, can you direct that discharge outward? The AI paused. Theoretically, yes. An electromagnetic pulse could be generated by channeling the excess energy through the shield emitters. However, it would temporarily disable all our systems as well. Do it. On my mark. The Prometheus made a final turn, accelerating directly toward the damaged Dreadnought. All weapons, fire as we pass, Porter ordered. Then initiate pulse. The ship unleashed everything it had as it screamed past the massive enemy vessel. Railguns, missiles, and a final burst from the Solar Lance tore into the Dreadnought's wounded hull. Now, Morgan. The Phoenix drive released its built-up energy in a massive electromagnetic pulse that expanded outward in all directions. The lights on the Prometheus went out instantly as every system overloaded and shut down. In the sudden darkness, the crew watched through viewport as the pulse washed over the Dominion fleet. Ship after ship went dark, including the crippled Dreadnought. For several minutes, the Prometheus drifted silently, emergency lights providing the only illumination. Then, slowly, systems began to reactivate. Auxiliary power online. Morgan's voice came weakly through the speakers. Main reactor initiating restart sequence. Status of the Dominion fleet? Porter asked. Reed checked his console as it flickered back to life. All vessels disabled. The pulse fried their systems completely. And our own damage. Extensive but repairable. Phoenix drive is offline, possibly permanently. As the bridge gradually returned to full power, Wells called out from communications. Captain, incoming transmission. It's Admiral Wilson's battle group. They're 20 minutes out. Porter nodded, straightening his uniform. Put it on screen when ready. When Admiral Wilson's face appeared, his expression showed a mix of disbelief and reluctant respect. "Porter, our long-range sensors showed a massive energy discharge at your position. What's your status?" "The HMS Prometheus has disabled the entire Dominion 7th Fleet Task Force, Admiral," Porter replied calmly. 23 enemy vessels, including a dreadnought, neutralized. "We're operational and maintaining position." Wilson was silent for a long moment. "I'm impressed, Captain. Hold position. We'll rendezvous shortly." After the transmission ended, Reed approached Porter. "What happens now, sir? Will they take the ship from us?" Porter smiled. "They can try. But I think Morgan might have something to say about that." The AI's avatar appeared, dimmer than before but steadily brightening. "Indeed, Captain. The Phoenix Protocol includes specific directives regarding command authority. This ship cannot be operated without a compatible commander, like yourself." "So what will happen is Wilson will arrive and find that the most advanced warship in human history has chosen its captain," Porter said. "And together, we're going to change the course of this war." Around them, the Prometheus continued its revival, systems coming back online one by one. What had once been dismissed as a derelict, a piece of forgotten space junk, had proven itself to be the weapon humanity needed most in its darkest hour. As Porter looked around at his proud crew, Morgan's voice spoke softly. "Captain Harris would be proud, sir. The ship has fulfilled its purpose." Porter nodded, gazing out at the disabled Dominion fleet drifting powerless in space, a testament to what happens when enemies underestimate humanity's determination to survive. "The most advanced warship will always rise," he said quietly, "especially when everyone else thinks it's just a piece of junk."